Welcome back to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are continuing our interviews from the 2021 WSOP. And as many of you have heard and seen, obviously, on my YouTube page, most of the interviews that we've had have been of bracelet winners. But this person is not just a bracelet winner. He is someone who has stood the test of time, played the highest levels in the world of poker, really kind of gone back and links the old world to the new world, because he is still one of the top players in the world of poker. Why I say that? Well, he final tabled 2 bracelet events this past year, including one that he has said is probably the one that he wants to win the most and dear to his heart, the Poker Players Championship. I'm so pleased to have on the only inductee to the 2021 Poker Hall of Fame, Eli Elezra. Eli, thanks for joining us here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Bernard. Appreciate it.
It is, you know, it's so much fun. You know, I know a lot of people in the world of poker, obviously. I know a lot of people at certain levels, some acquaintances, some, you know, we've played together, but you are one of those players that I talked about it with somebody else. We're in the world of COVID. We haven't seen each other in 2 years. There's so many players that you want to say hi to, but there's a list of players that you just have to run over and give a hug to. And you were obviously on that list. And it was like on cue. We're playing the deuce to 7, the 1500. I'm at one table, 2 tables over. I see you, you see me, and it was like on cue. We both got up and we started walking to each other and didn't have to say a word. And it was like that's, you know, again, that's what to me the 2021 World Series was about. It wasn't just about getting back on the table and playing. It was about, you know, everyone jokingly says it's like summer camp, but to me it was like a college reunion. You know what I mean? Like, it was really great to see everyone again, and to see the people that you just don't see on a regular basis. And obviously you were one of them. How was it like for you coming back to the 2021 WSOP?
Well, first of all, talking about you, so me and you share the same love to the same game.
Yeah.
The deuce to 7 is,
that's right.
I love this game and I've been playing it and I've been playing it cash and everything. But I also been with you, I think right when you started, when you were in your radio poker show in Boston, you invited me 2 times, I think, and I was on the air with you. And I remember back then we talked about the high stakes, we talk about cheap breeze, we talk about Doyle Bronson, we talk about, because I know that you love the history of this game. And,
that's right.
And I was coming in right at the edge of it, so. You know, I play with Stu Unger a couple of times, and so this for me the history. I play with Johnny Moss and stuff, and when the people still interested, you know, and I would compare you to Daniel Negreanu, because you and Daniel probably same age now. I don't know, but you are between the old school to the new school, absolutely, and you know. And you know everybody, you've been around everybody. Yeah. I love a media person that play the game, and you do that. And so, okay, back to your question.
Oh, I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Thanks.
I just, I was sitting home, like my hand tied behind my back. I mean, I love the World Series of Poker. Yeah. I love the competition. I love seeing all the people back again. And every year we have so many new players coming to the circle, you know, to the circle of poker. A lot of new talent. And every year when I go there, I'm trying to show them this old man still got it, you know.
Don't count this old man out.
and I mean, I'm so excited that it's going to be across from Bellagio now, you know, the Bally's, or the new name. I don't know, they're going to call it the Horseshoe or Horseshoe.
I think it's just going to be called Horseshoe. Yep.
Wow, that's history. See,
neat, huh?
I was there when Jack Binion gave us the buffet, the ticket for buffet for free. I was there at the Horseshoe, the old Horseshoe. And I played there for the very first time. I played the main event. If I would have to guess, about at least 5 to 10 times in the old Horseshoe, you know, I played it. So it'll be interesting to see it. Hopefully they'll have it run. I mean, the way that he ran it, the Rio, other than, you know, a guy like me that used to REA resorts now, Bellagio, to see the beautiful chairs and the good food and everything. So in Rio, when the chairs is still the old chairs and the air condition freezing our asses off every summer, other than that, I hope that Bally's will, the new horseshoe will give us what we deserve. And I believe we deserve it. I mean, I've been saying it all over when people interview me. We are sport. Poker is sport. I don't care what they said. I know we're not sweating. Well, we do sweat. But we are sport. I mean, we've been there. We're coming. People writing every software they want about the GTO to the solver to this, whatever you want. Even though it's for me, it's so much new school. But look at that. Look at the new generation. It just, who's going to argue with us saying that you see the Jason Kuhn and the Alex Fox and the Daniel and every face over and over and over again in the high stake? It's just showing you that this is, try to bring somebody that don't have much clue, they want to survive.
Right.
So I definitely call us sport, and I definitely, I mean, that's why I love it. That's why we love it. We both love this sport.
Of course. You are, you're nominated to the Poker Hall of Fame, and you were nominated several times prior, somewhere around 6 or 7 times prior to this. How important was it for you to be finally inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame?
I mean, I'll go back to beginning. I started playing in 1987, I would tell you. And I play small, I still run my businesses and everything. And I would say right around when 1997 or 6, I got introduced to Chip and Doyle at the Mirage. And then we moved to Bellagio. And Bellagio, I start playing big and I start playing with them. But all along, I would say, from the moment I start playing big, I would say 7, 8 years later, I really decided to start taking it seriously, because at the beginning I was one of those, sheep that come and, I'm a businessman and all the professional looking to play with me and everything. And through the years, when I start playing with all the big names, and I never miss any, me and you know all of them.
Wow, of course.
From the late Mike Saxton to, I play with Andrew himself, like Andrew Olmsted, Maury playing with me, and all the way to Gus and Phil Ivey and Barry Grinson and Daniel and everybody. Every one of them, when I play with them, I realize at the beginning I was me and probably 2 more from the old table are business people. The rest of them are professional. And when I decided 10 years ago to do only that, and all my businesses and everything is gone for my families, and I just knew that one day I want to be there. And when I got nominated, first of all, I was shocked. It was like what you said, 6 years ago, maybe. When they nominated me, it was wow. So then, I mean, when you look at the criteria, when you say you have to be 40 years old, I was tested the test of time, and I start playing 30 years ago. I play poker, and I'm still here. And I mean, there's no poker player name that I don't have his phone number on my phone on the contact. And there's no one that don't know me or I don't know them. I know even all the new ones. So between all those and between the 4 bracelet I won and the WPT, I thought that I deserve it. But of course, when every year I see the name with me, and even names like Chris Ferguson, that he have his problem, a name like some of those European guys, I knew that they definitely, some of those guys absolutely deserve it.
Right.
In the last few years, I thought that when Todd Bronson was elected, I thought that I felt like, I wanted to, I thought that I will be ahead of Todd because he just turned, but there's also some politics in this one and stuff. And playing with Doyle, by the way, I just played with him yesterday.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me through the year, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He said to me that over and over again. And by the way, you just said at the beginning of your interview that you interview only bracelet holder this year. Buddy, it's like I won 3, 4, 5 bracelets to being there.
Yeah,
because
right.
The first Israeli, the
Yeah.
first guy with an accent, not the first guy with an accent, but you know, I know Carlos, I know Daniel Canadian, Carlos Spanish, and I know the late Devilfish. He was after he died, they indicted him. But for me, you know, from a small country like Israel, by the way, when the poker is booming like hell in Israel, Israel got, to my opinion, not because I'm Israeli, I've been in a poker academy in Israel, and they invite me to 3 or 4 sessions there.
Yep.
You wouldn't believe how serious they are about the game. And you can see the fruits. You can see every year, you can look at the leaderboard on all those no-limit games, and you can see Israel. You can see Israeli on top. This year, a couple of Israeli won bracelet. And I mean, it's so popular over there. And I'm so happy to be the first one and the first guy. I don't know if I'll be the first or last in my lifetime. I'm favorite to be the last in the lifetime. Only because, you know, me and you discussed it a few minutes ago, and you probably mentioned some of the name. So many people going to turn 40 that me and you can appreciate it. I just named 1 or 2 names, like the grinder. But this guy did something,
Absolutely.
the most unbelievable thing, to win 3 times the 50K.
Exactly.
I just make it 4th this year. And I'm telling you, this is the most fun tournament. And yes, you want to put your name where the chip raise was. And yes, I'm a mixed game player, more than a no-limit player. And I remember Barry Greenstein saying it in his book and all over, saying, if you ever want to be, you know, top player, you have to move from the no-limit and play all with us, the rest of them.
Right.
So when you have the grinder out there, and you have the Jason Mercier and all those big names that coming up, and there's so many old guys that never got in yet. Yes, I probably will be the last Israeli in my lifetime.
Well, it's going to be definitely a situation that the Poker Hall of Fame is going to have to address, because like you said, having one player like Huck last year, you this year, it just seems a little bit too, because there is going to suddenly be a backlog. If you look at the names on here, like you talked about, Michael the Grinder Mizrahi, this is somebody who, I mean, this is just, in all honesty, I'm not that you shouldn't have gotten in. If anything, he should have gotten in with you. I think
Absolutely.
it's crazy
No,
that he wasn't
agree.
a first ballot. I really think it's a little crazy. That's just my personal opinion. Michael's a very good friend of mine, but that's beside the point. Just his accomplishments of what he has done, how he changed the game. WPT, everyone talked about Grinder. That's all it was for a while. And then, you know,
one
again,
in my lifetime will do 350K championship. There is no way.
It's amazing. It's just amazing what he has done. And Ted Forrest, what he did, Mike Matisow, just what he had done for the game. Isai Scheinberg, it's the contributions that he has made to what the world of poker is. And then, of course, the late Lane Flack, you know, he definitely had his, you know, we jokingly say back-to-back is because of him. I mean, that's really what it is.
Absolutely.
In the world of poker.
I agree.
And I think another person who, and I'm going to always wave the flag for him, for his contributions, of someone who is like you, it will mean the world to him. And I will say, not if, when. But when Matt Savage gets in, it'll be a great moment, because he deserves it. He really has made an impact in the world of poker. And, you know,
I know this year Matt Savage was right there with me.
Yeah.
When they elected, I'm sure he was so close, it was either me or him. And that's why during the interview, when Jack Eiffel called me, you know, and it was very, very respectable moment, you know, to say a few words, and my family was there. I said, one of the things I said, that it definitely should be at least 3 people, 2 players and one of you guys. And I'm saying you guys because I'm sure I'll see your name, Brendan. in probably 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. I mean, I've been with you, I've been knowing you for so many years. And yes, Matt Savage, come on, man. I mean, these guys, every place you go, Matt is there. WPT hire him. I was in the horseshoe, the old horseshoe days, when Matt was the director there. So he was right there with me when he was young. He looked the same now when
that's right. You look at the picture of you look at the picture with Chris Moneymaker and all that stuff. You see Matt in these pictures.
It's unbelievable. Really what he does to this, what he's doing to the game is really unbelievable.
I think I think you and I talked about this a little bit too. Is that there's a Chip Reese rule, right? A 40-year-old rule when Chip Reese got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm not wishing Matt doesn't get in. I'm saying the year Matt gets in, whatever year that is and whatever age he is, that's it for the contribution kind of portion of the Poker Hall of Fame. The people who, the quote unquote non-players who have contributed to the overall growth and success of poker, those people like the Maury Escondanis. Not that Maury doesn't play, but of course he's gotten in because of that. The Henry Ornsteins, those people, there should be the Matt Savage rule. So in other words, at that age, whatever that age, so Matt will turn 54 in 2022. So if he does get in this year, if it's a fall, whatever it is, because if you look at the players who have, or the people who have gotten in based off of their contributions, Maury Escandani, he was 62. Eric Drake, he was 67. Jack McClellan, he was 63. Jack Binion, he was 68. Henry Ornstein, he was 85. Matt Savage, that person, because in those worlds, they really have to be testing the time and being there for a while. Players, you can start out at 19, 20 and go. So anyway, that's just my thought. That
wow. I would second this one. If somebody ever listening to us, yes, if they can do the 55 or the 54 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever Matt Savage's age is, in my opinion, that's the Matt Savage rule. You know, that kind of thing.
That will be really amazing. And buddy, I'll go on record and said, I'm a voter now. So Matt is absolutely my top list
so
right there.
And I also think that they should, in the past, the media had a vote too. There was a bunch of people on the media thing. And I think that it should expand out as well. You know, similar to like the Baseball Hall of Fame, there's writers that vote as well, really to kind of help the old and the new kind of really vote and look at it. It doesn't necessarily have to be people who are in their 20s. But I think that there should be kind of a little bit of a mix as well. That's just my two cents worth. And like you said, increasing the number every single year, with the 9 nominees beside yourself, they all are obviously well deserving. But like you said, I mean, I talked about it with a list. There are players, and I'm just going to name a few. I hope I don't, you know, please, no one, if I leave you out, I'm not trying to offend you, but we're talking just in the next 5 years. Anthony Zeno, Brian Rest have already turned 40. John Manette, Vanessa Selpt, Ben Lamb, Jason Kuhn, Justin Bonomo, Isaac Haxton, Phil Galfond, Jason Mercier, Tom Dwan, Joe Catta. Those are
my God.
In the next 5 years. I'm talking next 5 years. So if you did one a year, and let's just, again, this is a bad assumption because people have been nominated and then fallen off the nomination list and not gotten in. But let's just make the assumption that in the next 5 years, if we did one a year, somebody on this list would come off, 5 or 6 of those people. Well, what about those 10, 12 people I just named? What are we just, we're going to wait till they're 60? Like we are at a time and place where poker boomed. And now they're all turning the age that makes sense for the world of poker. And these players, some of these players, they're no brainers. I mean, as much as I say Michael Mizrahi is a first-time Hall of Fame ballot, I'm going to say Jason Mercier should be a first-timer. I mean, again, and all these other people, this is not about a debate of saying, oh, it should have been this person first time. I agree with you. All of them could be first-timers. It's just, I think Poker Hall of Fame has to really just look at that and realize there is going to be a backlog, a huge one. And currently, I think there already is one. Because of those 9 people on that list that didn't make it this year, I could probably name you 5 or 10 that should have even been on that list. And I think that internationally, they need to be more represented especially
absolutely agree with you.
There are a few people in Europe that should be on that list that just are not on that list right now, and I think it's a shame.
I bet you, and you know I'm a betting man, I'm gambling, that in the next, first of all, I'm sure that WSOP listen to it, and I bet you that the rule will be changed in the next 3 years, because we'll have no choice. If not, you're going to leave so much talent behind,
right?
That it's not like Michael wake up in the morning and saying, "Oh, I need to do anything to the." People will keep playing, and
Right.
he's going to play the game, and 90% of those people you mentioned will play the game. I don't know if they love the game the way I love it, because I'm playing still to these days. Maybe I miss one day a week because they cannot find me a game. But I wake up and I get the game going, and I either going to Bellagio most of the time, going to Aria, going to resort. I travel less now to play cash game. I used to travel to Los Angeles, but no one loved the game of poker like me. And I just think that those guys that you just mentioned, we're going to have 2 or 3 people at least, and try to put most of the people on this Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mentioned the European scenario. I'm just going to name 3 Europeans that I think at least should be in the discussion. One, Patrick Antonius. He is a player that so many people watched for so many years. Gus Hansen, he revolutionized WPT at the beginning. And I think a player that he has been nominated, but he's fallen off, is Chris Bjorn. I mean, he's a player that has been around for years and has done his part. And again, we could talk about this forever. I'm
going to add up one more name, Bruno Fitoussi.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
This man, what he did in French, and he ran any poker club over there, and he been around every WSOP since I started. I've been seeing Bruno, you know. So yep. This man is absolutely, what he does in French is also unbelievable.
Right. Again, we could, you know, it'd be so much fun just to kind of go through the whole thing. You know, if you talk about specific countries and Max Pescatori, I mean, there's so many people in every single country that really deserves to get at least recognized. And like I said, there's going to be a time where it's going to be, I think there's a backlog already. There's going to be a time where it's going to be too much of a backlog. And so I think that they really need to look at that, and hopefully they will. This isn't a it's putting down the Poker Hall of Fame. It's just more of just constructive criticism, and hopefully they will look at that, and I think they will. And I think we were having this discussion with Chad and Robbie on my end of the year show, and one of the things I think Chad brought up is that considering that we're moving over to a new location, it might be a good time to have like, hey, we're moving over to a new location. We're going to nominate, we're going to induct whatever, 5, 8,
very
10.
good idea.
You know what I mean? And or at least maybe over the next 2 years, say, hey, listen, because we're coming to a new location, in honor of the Horseshoe 1, and then in honor of Paris 2, we're going to nominate whatever, 5 each year, 6 each year, whatever it is, and then really get rid of a lot of the backlog. And then moving forward, like you said, and also moving forward, we are going to put in 2 or 3 every single year, maybe 2 players, 1 contributor, whatever it might be. But I think we are at a time and day and age where we need to move forward and really honor those players who really changed the game over the last 20 years. I think that's really what it comes down to. Yeah. So when we come back, we're going to talk more with the 2021 Poker Hall of Fame inductee, Eli Elezra, when we return here on the Bernard Lee Poker Show.